When it comes to hitting your goals, especially when it comes to podcasting, consistency is key. And in this episode, I'll be breaking down the steps for how you can be more consistent so it'll allow you to achieve your goals. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Alec Casson here with Impact Podcaster Academy, where we help podcasters create more impact and income online without needing to worry about going viral or without worrying about needing to get a whole bunch of sponsors, things like that. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about being consistent, because if you know like the goal that you got and you are heading in the right direction, at that point, all you got to do is just stay consistent with going in that direction, and then eventually you will hit that goal. And I just got done at the gym, got done showering up, and I had one of those shower thoughts. You know, when you're in the shower and it's like, oh man, you get hit with such inspiration for an idea. And I was like, oh, I got an idea for an episode. So I just really quickly got dressed, came out here, and I'm hitting record, and now here we are. And that idea was consistency, you know? And the thing, oddly enough, that had me think to record this was actually a cartoon. I was thinking of the cartoon Rick and Morty. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's basically about this old scientist guy, mad genius, very kooky, and him and his grandson go on a bunch of really wild adventures. And if you've not seen the show, it's a great show. It may trigger you at some points. You know, it's a little out there, adult humor style type of stuff. But there's an episode where he is avoiding going to a family therapist, and the way he does that is by turning himself into a pickle. He quite literally puts himself into a pickle of a situation, and he has to get out of it. But he does it in order to avoid going to family therapy. And the thing that was so interesting in this episode, and I'll try to include an audio clip somewhere in this episode here, but the therapist begins to kind of school this mad genius. And she's pointing out like, hey, Rick, you know, you're doing all these crazy adventures. You're super smart, and you're doing all these fantastical things. But at the end of the day, there's certain key things that you got to do just to, you know, survive, just to be able to go through life. You know, you're out traveling to different dimensions and different timelines of different things, and you're fighting aliens, and you got these kooky, crazy, sciencey tools, but, you know, you still got to wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, still got to wipe your butt after you go to the bathroom, and these are just mundane things, but at the end of the day, you still got to do it, because even if you don't do those mundane things, guess what? Your teeth are going to rot out, you're going to smell, you know, things like that. And even though doing something like taking a shower isn't as crazy awesome as traveling to a different planet, you still got to do it. And you still got to make sure your family is good. So she explained it kind of differently in the episode, but that had me thinking, like, it's really important to do the small things. It's those small things that get you to those goals. Like, think about it. If you don't brush your teeth once, your teeth going to rot out of your head? Probably not. But if you don't brush them for 2 days, you're on the track. Then 3 days, you're getting a little bit closer. 4 days, 5 days. You know, it begins to stack up. Who knows? Maybe you just brush once a day, and then you skip the next day. Oh, and then you go back to the third day, you brush once, and then you're like, oh wait, no, you know what? Maybe I should brush twice a day. It's inconsistent, and then guess what? You might end up getting some cavities. But it's like brushing your teeth once doesn't prevent cavities, and not brushing your teeth once doesn't give you cavities. But it's that consistency. It's being able to continue to do that small thing over time that will lead you to the results that you want. Even with the whole gym analogy, or we'll go to the gym in general. You really don't have to do anything crazy when you go to the gym. For example, if you were to go on a Stairmaster for a half an hour, you might burn around like 400 calories. And if you burn 300 calories every day, and assuming you don't eat more calories to replace that, in 7 days, you would have burnt enough calories that equates to 1 pound of fat just by 300 calories. Now imagine if you actually didn't even work out, and all you did was you cut out 300 calories worth of food every day. That could be like one soda. It could be a granola bar, basically. Like imagine each day, all you do is you just not eat a granola bar, and then at the end of the week, you've essentially lost a pound of fat. Like that's really not that difficult to do when you think of it like that. But cutting out one granola bar isn't going to get you 6-pack abs. Going to the gym once isn't going to get you 6-pack abs. Missing the gym once isn't going to get you overweight. Eating one slice of cake isn't going to get you obese. You know, it goes back to that thing of consistency, but it's those small things. And actually, I remember hearing I forgot. As soon as I was going to mention it, of course I forget. But there was I think it's a marriage counselor or a relationship coach. They were talking about, it just came to mind. Pastor Rick Warren. He was giving this message, and he was talking about like commitment, and it branched out into different areas. And at certain parts, he was talking about relationships, and that's why I had thought, relationship coach. But he was talking about the idea of commitment in general, and he related it to his marriage. And he was talking about, like, when you're committed in something, especially something like a marriage, for him and his wife, they've kind of, like, when they were talking about it, they began to realize, like, it's not just you commit once and then you're good for the rest of the time. When it comes to commitment, there's always points where you got to make sure you recommit. Like, in the beginning, when you commit, you're doing it, and it's great. But then there's that point where the option comes up for you to stop, or to pivot, or to change, or to give up. And then at that point, the commitment you made doesn't stand. You now have to make the conscious decision to recommit. Pretty interesting, right? And it kind of ties back into that thing of goals. So, like, for your podcast, you might have certain goals. There might be certain things that you do, like you post once a week. Now, if you miss 1 week, it's not going to totally destroy your podcast. But if you miss 2 weeks, miss 3 weeks, now you're in it's a bigger doozy. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then you begin to feel like you've fallen off the bandwagon. And who knows, maybe you actually are at that point. And I don't want you to feel bad, but I do want to let you know, get back on the saddle. Get back on it, get started. The whole point of being committed and being consistent is that you continue to do it. Now, again, like I said, you don't brush your teeth once. You're not immediately going to get cavities. However, brushing your teeth once doesn't immediately get you pearly whites. Going to the gym once isn't going to get you six-pack abs. But eating one piece of cake is also not going to get you obese. But it's those little things that stack up over time. So you got to recognize, like, what those little things are for your podcast. You got to recognize maybe you do have to post one tiny thing in a Facebook group every week. Maybe once every day. Maybe you got to sit down once in the beginning of the month and plan out all that stuff. So you don't got to sit down and try to create things spontaneously in the moment every single day of every single week. Like, that's draining. But, like, while you're in the creative flow, maybe you could plan out like 15 posts that you could do. Maybe when you have the lighting set up, or you got the microphone set up and it's quiet, the kids are asleep, or no one's knocking at the door, instead of doing one 15-minute episode, how about you decide to record 5 15-minute episodes? And guess what? If you upload once a week, that is literally over a month's worth of content. Imagine not needing to record a podcast episode for an entire month. What other things could you do? It's amazing. But it's those small things you got to stay consistent with. And that's basically just the bit of inspiration that I got. And I just hope I can encourage you to recognize those small things and just stay committed to it and recommit to it. Because you may not see the result right away, but it's like, you got to trust me. You got to trust me. You stick with that. You stick with those small commitments. You're going to see some good results. Personally, I'm just going to open up here a little bit personally. I've been hitting some fitness goals. I know when my fiance and I moved to Arizona, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, you know what? I could be in better shape than that. And there was many high points and low points, many times where it's like, man, I am on a roll. I'm super consistent. And then there was times where it's like, ow, my back. Whoa, what the heck? And then I was out of the gym for a month. Oh, and then there was another month, got COVID. Couldn't work out at all then. Shoot, I could barely like stand for 15 minutes. But you get back on the saddle. You get back to it. And even if you don't see the result, all you got to say to yourself is like, just do as long as you did the thing, as long as you stayed consistent, you got back on it, and you just got to keep getting back up. And you keep going. Then you will get to the result, as long as it actually is pointing you in the right direction. So for me, I just knew that if I could measure, and now I'm getting very sciencey here, I got the health and exercise science background, the whole physical therapy thing, but I just knew, like, if I don't eat more than this amount of calories, and if I work out Or if I eat 300 less calories, eventually my body's going to get to a certain physique that I want it to be. So what are those metrics for you? What are those things you got to do? And how can you make sure you stay consistent with it? So thank you so much for listening. I really hope I was able to encourage you here. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And I look forward to hearing your own next episodes as well. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you around.